Former friend's girlfriend accused me of having an affair baby with her boyfriend, causing chaos and legal action against her harassment. I had this friend who used to have a very strong crush on me but never confessed. It was very obvious to everyone around. We were teenagers, grew apart, dated other people, and made our own lives. He moved to another state and has a long-term girlfriend, and I have been married to my husband for almost 6 years now, with 2 beautiful babies, and I'm currently pregnant. My friend, or former friend, I should say, and I barely talk. The last time we had a conversation was when my youngest was born, and he texted me saying congratulations. I replied with, thanks, and that was literally it. My husband knows about him and the crush he had on me. They've met because we are part of the same group of friends, and we've met his girlfriend too. There's no problem with that. I don't reach out to him. All of our conversations before the last one were initiated by him, and they're always like, hello, how are you? Good, and you? And that's it. I don't always reply. My husband's family owns a small coffee shop, and my former friend knows about it. I spend part of my afternoons there while I wait for my daughter to finish her activities. My Mill and Sil are often there, and my 3-year-old son and I stay with them for a couple of hours. So, last Friday, I was surprised to find my former friend and his girlfriend at the coffee shop. They had rented a space there for a week since he came back to our city to do some photography and video work. He's a visual artist. Part of his team was with them. It was weird, but not a big deal. We crossed paths at the shop, and we all greeted each other. They didn't know I was pregnant, and he looked kinda shocked, to be honest, which was weird and made me uncomfortable because he started acting as if he was nervous. They hadn't met my son before. This was the first time they saw him, and although he didn't really pay much attention to him, his girlfriend did. Honestly, it all made me feel really uneasy, especially when she started staring at my son so much that it gave me chills. My Sil noticed it too, without even knowing who she was. I was texting my husband about it and decided to leave the place. My husband and I talked about it that night. He tried to give it a logical explanation, said it was odd but maybe he chose the coffee shop because it felt familiar, and he said maybe the girlfriend wants to have kids herself, which is why she was staring so much. Anyway, I decided not to go back until they left the coffee shop for good. They rented it for an entire week. He said he could ask his mom to kick them out, but I didn't want to because it wouldn't be fair to her bussiness. That night, she tried to contact my husband through the coffee shop's Instagram, asking if he was sure our son was really his. That was literally the only text she sent. Are you really sure that baby is yours? The text was sent around 2 to 3 a.m. A bit later she wrote, he doesn't look at all like you, so it seems like this woman started spiraling, thinking that my husband's and my son is actually her boyfriend's. She described how our baby's hair is curly and light but he has dark and straight hair. My natural hair is curly and light, he's my baby too. My husband has no access to the shop's account, so the next day we were woken up by a call from my Sil informing him about this. My husband is completely sure I never cheated on him, because I never cheated on him. Look, we weren't even in the country when our son was conceived. My husband was sent out of the country for work for a few months, and we all went with him. This is nuts. She said that 3 years ago, the former friend traveled to our city alone and she now understands why. I also got some texts from my former friend asking if I had told something to his girlfriend, like he was accusing me of something. Accusing me of what? Tell her what? At this point, I just gave my phone to my husband so he could deal with them. I also started receiving very nasty texts and voice notes from her, calling me horrible things. I wanted to just block both of them, but my husband thought it was better to keep the messages in case we needed to get the police involved. On the other hand, my husband replied to her first message and told her he is 100% sure our son is his and that she should take her insecurities elsewhere. She asked if we had done a paternity test, and he said we don't need to. She's now demanding we do a paternity test if we have nothing to fear. Direct texts from her addressed to me have decreased. I'm staying locked in the house with the kids because we're afraid this woman might do something, as she seems unhinged. Of course, they weren't allowed back at the coffee shop. My Mill also refunded their money because she doesn't want more problems and is beyond angry too. This is also so embarrassing. I can't stop crying. I don't feel in physical danger because they don't know where we live, but I am so full of rage that I can't stop crying. I know this stress is not good for the baby I'm carrying. This morning, my former friend called me. My husband was still at home, so he answered the call. He said his GF does not believe anything he says and practically begged me to please do a paternity test so she can calm down. I already blocked them both. She's now using other accounts to comment on the coffee shop Instagram, offending me, saying that our baby is an affair baby and I should be ashamed. At this point, I am not even interested on making her understand. I just want her to stop. So, my Sil came to visit this evening. The girlfriend showed up at the coffee shop this afternoon. She was alone. She was calm and was looking for me, said she only wants to know my version of how things happened, whatever that means. She's absolutely sure our baby boy is her boyfriend's son. Frown. All this makes me want to throw up. She was escorted out and was told she's not welcome there anymore. Sil is meeting her lawyer tomorrow, and my husband will also talk to one tomorrow. Our parents will help us with the expenses so we don't have to stress about money and our upcoming baby. They all are alarmed and concerned. After reading some of your comments, we decided to unblock them. We just won't engage if they try to contact us. They are still blocked on the shop page and that will remain the same. I silenced my notifications, and my husband will check my messages after work in case there's something. This is to help me avoid stress. I've had a very healthy pregnancy so far, and we want to keep it this way. Your comments have been helpful and we thank you. Oop, this is not the first comment suggesting that the ex-friend has lied to his girlfriend. I just don't really get what type of lies could have led her to become this crazy. Or why would he lie? My husband believes she knows about the crush and is jealous, and she just exploded in her insecurities. I can't rationalize it, it's just so messed up. My husband is talking to an attorney tomorrow to see what we can do. They were staying just for 1 week in the city, but that's a lot of time under the circumstances. Update 1. As Sill's lawyer warned us, shit hit the fan pretty quickly. They received 2 cease and desist letters, one under Eel's business and one from us. These were written by Sill's lawyer and delivered the same day, yesterday, as an emergency matter. I knew they were staying with one of our friends. As I mentioned in the comments on my last post, my husband met with a lawyer today. He will take our case and help us out. He also warned my husband that the girlfriend might get even crazier when she finds out we're taking legal action against them, and advised him to be ready for what might be coming. Until this point, my husband was a bit scared she might try to do something to our son or me, but deep down, he didn't believe she was capable of causing us physical harm. Until now. At first, we talked about me and the kids staying locked at home until they go back to their hometown, but then we decided to keep our routines, with slight changes, mostly because our kids don't deserve to suffer the consequences of this woman's actions. Tuesday was all right and very calm. But today, I was driving out of the garage to take our daughter to her dance lesson when the girlfriend crossed my path. I almost ran over her because I didn't see her. She wasn't screaming, but she was like, "Stop, stop, stop, stop." I did scream, sorry for my little ones, but I couldn't help but smile. I froze because what the hell was she doing there? How the hell did she find out where we live? Our toddler was like, yeah, whatever, but our daughter was terrified. The GF moved to my side of the car, and I think she wanted to talk. But I really didn't pay attention and couldn't hear her because Moana was playing in the radio, my daughter was crying, my son was starting to freak out, and I just kept driving in reverse to get the hell out of there. Now I'm thinking about a bunch of things I could have done, but in the moment, it was all chaotic, and I just wanted to run away. I called the police when we were far from the house and went back a few minutes later. I was shaking. Then I called my husband, and I took our daughter to the rest of her classes so she could be distracted. It worked for her. But not for me. Jesus Christ. At least in the studio, we were safe and surrounded by people. I asked our mutual friends if they had given her or him our address, but everyone swears on their lives that they didn't. I believe them? Yesterday, they had a reunion to which my husband and I were invited, but we refused to go because it was meant to catch up with the former friend and his GF. She didn't show up, and our mutual friends told me the atmosphere was weird, to say the least. According to what they said, the former friend asked if I was coming, didn't ask about my husband, and kept discreetly bringing me up throughout the night. He only wanted to talk about this mess, asked if I was mad, and dared to say things could go back to normal if I were to do the test. He then proceeded to insult my husband, saying he was controlling me. Now, listen, friends said maybe they misunderstood, but they think he implied my son could be his. I want to throw up. They shut him down because he was upsetting everyone and told him he was being lame, or so they say. That's what happened. So, the reunion ended earlier than expected. We weren't there, but I am angry. My husband is extremely angry, saying if he sees him he's going to beat the S out of him. I'm extremely worried for our son now. One of my female friends told me the girlfriend texted her, asking if the former friend was actually at the reunion with them and requested proof, to which my friend refused to send anything. I now realize it was around the same time she was messaging us on social media, insulting me and telling my husband how she was sure her BF was banging me. I can't with this level of disrespect. Mind you, I was in my pajamas, lying on the sofa like a couch potato, watching TV with my husband at that moment, so joke's on her. It was hard for my husband not to reply, but we are following the lawyer's instructions. We will proceed to sue her for defamation. It is very easy to prove our son was conceived when we were out of the country, but if needed, we'll do the paternity test, only if requested by the court or if it helps to fix this sooner. We tried for a PO on Tuesday. We will try again to get one tomorrow, and after the girlfriend showed up at our house and we filed the police report, our lawyer says we will get it for sure as an emergency resource. Legally, she can't visit the coffee shop either. We're staying at my Sill's place tonight. None of my friends know we're here, and they don't even know where she lives. The kids are all right, they know something is going on, but they seem to be at peace. Our daughter was back to normal after her dance lessons. She is excited because she gets to have a sleepover with her cousin. Our son was mad because he misses his bed. Yeah, buddy, I'm not buying it. It's the same bed where it's so hard to put him down, lol. He gets to sleep with mom and dad tonight, though I don't think I'll be able to sleep. My husband is out installing a Ring camera at our house, just in case he, or both show up. His dad is helping him, so he's not alone, but I will feel more in peace when he comes back to us. We decided I'm staying here with our son tomorrow. I work from home, so it's not a problem for me. My husband will take and pick up our daughter from school. I'm not scared anymore, but I really am. I'm mostly very angry at both of them, but I am remaining calm for my baby. I'm just focusing on the fact that we are safe at the moment, and that's working to ease my mind. Once my husband gets back to us, I'll be totally at peace. Right now, all I want to do is cry and be with my husband and our kids. Sil, Mill, and my mom keep telling me it's like a stress release, and hormones are making it way worse for me. It's Wednesday. They're supposed to leave on Friday or Saturday, but during this weekend, or that's what we assume. Not having them physically near us will be a great relief. I just want this to end. Update 2. Alright, buckle up, because things have taken an even wilder turn. I honestly didn't think this situation could get more insane, but here we are. First of all, we did get the restraining order. Finally. The girlfriend cannot come near me, my family, or the coffee shop. My lawyer said it should have been a straightforward process, but for some reason, things got delayed, and we only got confirmation late Friday. I felt relieved for about 10 seconds before realizing that just because there's a legal piece of paper, it doesn't mean she's suddenly going to gain common sense and respect it. And oh boy, was I right. Friday, the most chaotic day yet. I was trying to keep things as normal as possible for the kids, so my husband took our daughter to school as planned, and I stayed at Sil's house with our son. I was getting some work done when my Sil, who was at the coffee shop, called me in a panic. Guess who was there? The ex-friend. Alone. He wasn't causing a scene or anything, but he was just sitting there. Sil said he ordered a coffee and was just staring at the walls, completely zoned out. She asked him to leave since he and his girlfriend were both banned, but he just kept saying, "I just need to talk to her." Sil threatened to call the police, and then he snapped. He started rambling, saying he didn't even know anymore and that his girlfriend had gone missing. Missing? As in, she literally disappeared, left the Airbnb they were staying at, took nothing with her except her phone, and had been completely unreachable since Thursday night. At first, I thought, okay, she's probably just hiding somewhere, scheming some next-level crazy stunt. But then he said she left him a note. A freaking handwritten note. It said something along the lines of, "You've lied to me. I know the truth now. You're not the person I thought you were. You'll never see me again." She didn't take her clothes, her bags, nothing. Just her phone and wallet. I was speechless. Saturday, the revelation, so, naturally, I was still wary. I didn't want to have an ounce of sympathy for this woman, but I also didn't think she was the type to just vanish. My husband, being the logical one, was like, maybe she's just making a dramatic exit because she's embarrassed. But something wasn't sitting right with me. Then, a bomb dropped. One of our mutual friends, let's call her Jess, called me sobbing. Apparently, on Thursday night, just before the girlfriend went missing, she met up with Jess. And get this, she wasn't unhinged. She wasn't yelling. She wasn't acting crazy. In fact, she was devastated. Why? Because she found out that the ex-friend had been lying to her all along. What did he lie about? Oh, just a tiny little thing. Apparently, he had told her that we used to date. Yep, this man had literally rewritten our history and convinced his girlfriend that I was his ex. He made it seem like we had this passionate, unfinished love story, and that I was the one who got away. He told her that we were still secretly in contact and that I was unhappy in my marriage. That I had always loved him but felt trapped with my husband because of our kids. He even told her that my second pregnancy was an accident because my husband was desperate to keep me. What the actual F? Jess said that when she met up with the girlfriend, she was shaking and kept saying, "I've been so stupid. I believed everything. I thought I was crazy, but it was him all along." She apparently went through his phone, without him knowing, and found old messages from when we were teenagers, ones where he confessed his feelings for me but I never reciprocated. She saw that I never flirted with him, never said anything remotely romantic, and had barely spoken to him in years. That's when she lost it. Sunday, the aftermath. The ex-friend called me again. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail, sobbing. He sounded like a broken man. I didn't feel bad for him, but I did feel like I was watching a person's world completely collapse in real time. According to Jess, he's been calling and texting everyone, trying to find her. His messages make no sense. One minute, he's saying she's overreacting and needs to come back so they can fix things. The next, he's accusing everyone of turning her against him. But here's the real kicker, his own family has now turned against him. Apparently, his mom and sister are horrified by everything. They had no idea he had been feeding his girlfriend these lies for years. They believe she might have actually left for good, as in, went back to her home country. Yeah, forgot to mention, she's not from here. No one has heard from her since Thursday, she's not answering texts, and her family hasn't seen her. She might actually be gone. Now on to second story. Told my brother he wasn't my dad in anger, now he won't speak to me and I'm desperate to fix our bond. I have 3 older siblings, 2 sisters who are 28, and my older brother, Chris, who is 26, I am the youngest child at 16. 3 years ago our dad died of cancer, after a pretty rough battle. Being 11 when my dad got sick, I remember it being a pretty scary time, not always understanding what was happening, but the one thing I always knew was that Chris was there for me. Obviously it was also a very difficult time for Chris, but he really looked out for me during that time. And Chris has continued to be the same, great guy and awesome big brother to this day. So, 3 weekends ago I went to a party, drank too much, and I got drunk for third time in my life. I called Chris and asked him if he could come get me when I wanted to leave, and my friends, one of which was our designated driver who was sober, wanted to stay. Chris came to pick me up, worried that I was going to get in a car with a drunk driver if he didn't. The next day he lectured me on my drinking problem, and getting into cars with drunk drivers. Things got heated, because I felt like he was assuming a lot, because I'm a junior in high school and I've only drank 3 times at parties, which I feel is pretty normal, and I wasn't going to get in a car with a drunk driver. My DD was completely sober, so I feel like I was more responsible than he was giving me credit for. But yes, I was drunk enough to think calling him at 10 p.m. out of the blue to pick me up because I was tired was a good idea. And then 2 weeks ago Chris found out I quit the soccer team. He started lecturing me on commitments, and talking about how I need to be doing an extracurricular for college, and I shouldn't just quit because of laziness. And then things got heated, and he started talking about my drinking problem again, and then talking about my room being messy, and then we were really arguing and he was accusing me of being disrespectful, and then I fucked up. I lost it and told Chris he wasn't my dad and I didn't need him lecturing me, and how he thinks he could replace dad but he'll never be half the man dad was. I was mad and just looking for something mean to say. Chris left my room, and about 30 minutes later came back in and apologized for overstepping. It was clear that he had been crying, but I was still mad and couldn't bring myself to apologize even though I knew that I should and that I didn't mean what I said. Chris left and went back to his place and we didn't talk for 3 days. 3 days later I finally did the right thing and texted him a heartfelt apology for what I had done and said, thanked him for always caring enough to be there for me, and told him I spoke with the coach about rejoining the soccer team. He texted back hours later, "Thank you, that means a lot." Since that time we've only spoke sporadically over text, whereas we used to speak all day. I've asked him if he wants to hang out, and he's always busy or he says maybe tomorrow, and then when I text him the next day he doesn't reply until it's too late. Chris has come to every soccer game I've had over the past couple of years, but he's missed the last 2. I have apologized again by text. I would do it in person but I haven't seen him since our fight, whereas normally I see him a couple times a week. One of our things has been going to see Marvel new releases together. I asked him if he wants to go next weekend and he said his girlfriend surprised him and took him this weekend. So I replied back, okay, maybe we can do something else together? I'd love to hang with you, I miss you. No reply yet. I know what I said was completely fucked up and wrong. Besides being a very mean thing to say, it's not true at all. He's great. I understand why he's upset, and I know it's my fault, but now I don't know how to make things better. Chris was overbearing at times, but I would give anything to go back to that right now. Is there anything more I can do to fix this? Update 1. Someone advised me that I write my brother a letter apologizing, which I did. I apologized for being mean and hurtful, and that I was wrong for doing that. I also got him a separate card and wrote a message thanking him for everything he's done for me. I went to his house with my letter and card when I found out he was home to go talk to him, but unfortunately when I got there he was gone already, so I slid them under the door. When he got back home he found them and read them, and then he called me to arrange to come see me. He came over here and I apologized in person for what I said. He was very straightforward with me and honest about my actions. He explained that the reason he had been avoiding me lately is because he needed some time apart because he was beginning not to like me. He said loved me, but he didn't want to be around me sometimes. That was pretty hard to hear. He said that lately I've just been not very nice. The comment about our dad was by far the worst, but I make other snappy comments. He had tried to brush it off as me being just his teenager, but had now decided it was best to let me know. Being a teenager is not an excuse to be a constant asshole to everybody at home, is how he put it. He gave a few examples and looking back he was absolutely right. It was pretty upsetting to hear. I know he wasn't saying it to upset me, and I was thankful that he was telling me, or at least I'm thankful now. I promised that I would check my attitude. He said a little more thoughtfulness was all I needed, and that even though sometimes I act like an asshole he knows I'm not one. After we finished talking we hugged. He told me not to forget that he loves me and that I'm great. Since then I've been trying to be more considerate. I really am trying to follow the advice he gave me. It's been a couple months now, and I'm happy to say that it's working. Our mom told me a couple weeks ago that I'm a joy to be around. In the car earlier today my brother told me that it's been really nice spending time with me lately. So that's good news.